Hello everybody, welcome to Reading Through the Generations. I'm Precious and I have a special visitor, Carol. If you're new to this channel, whenever Carol's in town, we try to do bookish chat videos. But today we're coming at you with a festive book tag called The Joy of Christmas. So number one is, I have the prompts on my computer. Number one is anticipation. The Christmas excitement is real, but what book releases are you most anticipating?
You go ahead, because mine are already released.
Oh, so are mine. There's one that I can't mention because you know who is receiving it. But two that I'm anticipating on reading next year that came out this year are Passiontide by Monique Roffey and There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. Both women are some of my most favorite authors.
And mine are also already released, but roughly deal with the Christmas season. And both feature a subject that's very dear to my heart, which is the wrongful conviction of innocent persons. But these are what the two novels I'm talking about are kind of Christmas themed and somewhat lighthearted dealings with that subject. One is Rockin' Around the Chicadee, which deals with Meg Langslow's family organizing a presumed innocent conference during the Christmas season at the same time that they're trying to save the pregnancy of Meg's sister-in-law. So it involves lots of animals and birds and humor, as well as the very serious subject of the conference. The other one is the Terrier, which is, again, Andy Carpenter, who's my favorite fictional author, lawyer. His Christmas is disrupted when a rescued dog leads him to a college student who's been framed for the murder of one of his professors. And as usual, it deals with a lot of wise-ass courtroom humor and very wonderful dogs, which add to the drama, of course. And both of those are loosely related to the new John Grisham nonfiction book called Framed, which it's hard reading, I have to say that, but it's very important reading because it's 10 stories of innocent men who were found guilty of murder and spent many decades in prison before being exonerated, and the shameful details of lies and racism and corruption that allow such convictions to happen are very much exposed. So that's an important book, even though it's not Christmas themed. There we are.
So number two is Christmas Songs and Carols. What book or author can you not help but sing its praises?
Do you have one for that? Or?
Go ahead.
Okay, my one for that is an old one. It's a young people's book published in 1949, and it's important to keep that date in mind because it was only a few years after the bombing of Hiroshima. And it's called The Fabulous Flight by Robert Lawson. It's been reissued a number of times. I have to say, I still have my old copy of it, which I don't know how it ended up there, but I found it in the chicken house about a year ago. And amazingly enough, the cover was very stained, but the pages are still readable. It is what is one of my favorite books when I was a kid. I remember when it was first published because somehow my mom found out about it and got it for us. And it's about a small child, very small child, and a seagull who basically defy the warped priorities of our elder statesmen and make a decision that saves the world from literally a weapon of mass destruction. It's somewhat dated, or the humor in it might be, but it's very, very relevant today. It will never stop being relevant, I don't think. And it's also a wonderful story. So that would be my special Sing Its Praises book today.
And mine would be Shubeik Lubeik by Deena Mohamed. And this is a graphic novel. I wish I had it so I could show you her gorgeous illustrations. She wrote, illustrated, and translated it from the Arabic. This is such a riot of a story. It's set in our modern world, but it's an alternate version. And in Mohammed's version, when the British archaeologists uncovered Tutankhamun's tomb, they found these ancient bottles that had genies in it that could grant your wish. And that's actually what Shubeik Lubeik means. Your wish is my command. So the book, the graphic novel, is sort of public health announcement. She has, like, the opening page is actually a public health announcement from the legislation and safety of these wishes. There's first class wishes that are super expensive, only the wealthy and powerful can afford to get the hands on because they're from Tutankhamun's tomb, so that it's in limited supply. And then there's second class and third class ones, which this shows Mohammed's humor. They're sold in soda pop cans. But you have to be very clear when you give the jinn your wish, because the jinns will take it literally. So another public health announcement is the rise of zombies, because people understandably wish for their loved ones to come back. And then there's also another popular wish is to lose weight, and so you have people losing limbs. So it's very humorous and just absolutely creative, and Mohammed's illustrations are just so beautiful and detailed, and yet it also is satirizing our own modern world, like bureaucracy and capitalism, how the Western world takes advantage of war-torn countries. But I highly, highly recommend it. It's just absolutely, it's a stunning debut. All right, the next prompt is gingerbread houses. What book or series has wonderful world building?
And here, take over. You've got your pile here.
Okay, I have two for this. I have The Complete Brambly Hedge by Jill Barklem. And this is a compilation, so it has all the stories of the seasons, as well as The Secret Staircase, The High Hills, Sea Story, and Poppy's Babies. Let me just show you. We just followed this community of self-sufficient mice, and we're just invited into their world. So we go inside their homes, we go around the forest in which they live, and just you see and you feel the simple joys that they share with each passing season.
And little adventures.
And
too.
adventures too, but like, I love the home, especially the pantries. Like, don't you just want to shop in that pantry? It's just so lovely. Like, we're looking at a map. But yeah, this is just, well, here's another one of their home, sharing a meal together. Yeah, just magic. And then one that I'm listening to on audiobook is one by Mary Stewart called Thornyhold. I really fell in love with the descriptions of the forest in which our main character Gilly grows up in. Her father's a vicar, and so there's a cemetery and places that she's an only child, so she really just loves being out in the forest and nature. And the moments that she recalls being happy were the times that her mother's cousin Galus would just kind of appear out from, between trees. And so she has sort of set up this image of cousin Galus as being someone who makes things happen. Not necessarily a witch, but just someone who has that special ability and awe about them. And so I don't know how much to give away, but it's the descriptions that Stewart describes about Thornyhold, which is cousin Galus's house. And there's a walled garden, there's an herb garden. It's just really, really rich, and it's just been a joy to listen to. And it's been a very comforting read.
Well, good.
What's your book?
Oh, I could tell about The Children of Green Knowe.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read that? It's one of I have lots of all-time favorite books. But that whole series, the Green Knowe series by Lucy Boston, which I think she wrote when she was in her 90s. I mean, they're wonderful stories. But The Children of Green Knowe is her first one. And it also involves, at one point, Christmas, I think, as well, in my memory. But it's a small, lonely boy whose his mother has died, his father has married again, and they don't really have much time for him, and he goes to visit his grandmother, and she lives in a very ancient house that generations of the family grew up in and lived and died in, and he meets the ghosts of children who lived there before and who had died in the Great Plague. And they are full of mischief, which they lead him into, of course. But also again, it deals with the landscape and the magic of nature itself. So the animals that he meets, they're all very beautifully drawn. And these ghost children are just so much fun. You don't want them to go away ever. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. And like you say, it lifts your heart. So I recommend it, and all the others in that series.
All right, next one is A Christmas Carol. A favorite classic and one that you want to read.
Oh, Lord, you go with that, because I can't think of anything.
All right, well, here's a little story. A little glimpse into who I am. So, from the age of 10 to this day, I'm middle-aged. Every Christmas break and every summer break, I would read Little Women. Now, we were first-generation Filipino-American immigrants, and we didn't have any family around. So it was just my siblings, and I could only handle them for a certain amount of time. So my escape was to visit with my cousins, Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy, and Mother Marmee, of course, and Lori. So I don't reread it every year, but I do love revisiting it just for its nostalgic and just the warmth that Louisa May Alcott, you feel that warmth and that love between the lines of every page. And then one that I want to read was a gift from my sister Lisa. It's called Once Upon a River by Diane Sutterfield. And this one is set in midwinter upon the River Thames. And it just has all the ingredients of a good story that I love. So I'm really, really looking forward to reading that this month.
Okay, well, I'll tell you about it. First, I will tell you about me and Little Women. Because I have to admit, I read it, tried to read it as a child, and when I came to the point where the mother lets the canary die because the kids didn't water and feed it, I stopped reading that book, and I never even could touch it until I was just a couple of years ago. I actually finally read it. I was so appalled that someone would let that poor bird die. I couldn't handle it. So that's my story of Little Women. But another classic that I totally recommend, again, it's an old one, and it's called Mistress Masham's Repose by T.H. White. And it is one of my, I still reread that book almost at least once a year. It is so wonderful and so funny, and there's so much wisdom hidden in it, in the humor. I just totally recommend it. It's a young girl who, in these days, her guardians would be put in jail for child abuse, but in the time that was written, which I believe was during the 1940s, I don't have it in front of me, but no one paid attention to such things. But she is befriended by a very elderly professor who speaks in Latin half the time. That's delightful. And also by the remnants of a community of the people of Lilliput who had been abandoned on an island on the property where she lives. And it's her adventures with them and the professor and his elderly dog, who's also wonderful. There's so many great characters in there. It is just a absolute thrill and delight to read. I hope everybody will read it.
All right, the next one is Christmas Sweets. What book would you love to receive for Christmas?
You better do this one, because I can't think of anything except very expensive ones.
All right, the next one is Christmas Sweets. What book would you love to receive for Christmas? I'm happy to receive anything that has writing on random pieces of paper. It can just be
Yes.
It could just be a note. Or an email with a joke on it or something.
Hey, I read cereal boxes. I know what you mean.
So let's go to the next one. All right, Candles in the Window. What book gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling?
You've got one right there.
A Christmas Day in the Morning by Pearl S. Buck. And then I also have a Rumor Godden book. The Story of Holly and Ivy. And this is just about, well, they're super short. I don't want to give it all away, but you highly recommend. Did you have any?
Oh, warm fuzzy feeling. I don't.
Nothing sexual here, Carol.
Thank you. No, there's that one. Oh, what is it called?
How to Be a Good Creature?
No, is it the Best Christmas Pageant ever?
Oh yeah.
I forget who's the author.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, I'll insert it in this video, okay?
It's just,
apologies.
Again, it's hilarious.
Did you know that they're turning it into a Christmas film this year?
Oh no, they did?
Yeah, I can't remember who is in it, but yeah, we should watch it.
Oh, with Let's, because it's a wonderful story.
Yeah, it is really great.
And it's so funny, and yes, I love that.
All right, and the last question is Christmas trees and decorations. What are some of your favorite book covers? Can you think of any?
Oh, but does it have to be Christmas?
No,
themed?
no. It doesn't have to be Christmas themed. Like, I love anything that has, it can be a painting or a drawing, anything with nature. So like, I have Gerald's, my family and other animals. It's just this kind of, as all, members of his family and animals that he meets on their vacation in Corfu. And then I have this one, Henry Faber's Children of Summer. So robin's eggs with bees and moths and ladybirds. And then I also love collage. It's like my favorite art form. I love making them. And gosh, when Lisa was here visiting a couple months ago, we went to the Portland Art Museum, and it's under construction, so they just had a limited amount of what they used to have. And there was a stunning collage by a Spanish painter. I'll include a picture and the artist's name, but it was stunning. But yeah, so anything collage. I have The Comfort of Crows by Margaret Renkl. And this is filled with gorgeous collages that her brother makes. I'll talk more about it in another video I plan to do. And then here's another one that's sort of a collage where there's a bookshelf and birds and a cherub reading. How about you?
Can you hold this one up? Mm-hmm. That's a delightful book that probably nobody in this country's even heard of yet.
I was going to review it.
I love this book, and it's just a delight, and the cover just gives a sense of how delightful it is. It's a young couple that moved to the country in England, and their rather bizarre and wacky adventures with the people that live there and the animals and the countryside. It's just great, and a house that's falling apart. I loved it. And here's another one who's covered.
Oh yes, Amy Tan.
Love this I love this book.
How this came about was Amy Tan, I think during COVID, yes, she decided to fulfill one of her childhood's dreams, which was to learn how to draw. And so this is sort of her diary. She didn't really intend to make it into a book. It was actually her publisher who kind of brought up the idea, but it's her journal of the birds that would come and visit her backyard garden, and these are all her illustrations and notes. And she admits that she is not an ornithologist. Like, this is not a scientific
no, but
book.
she
It's
gives
easily accessible.
She gives personalities to these birds, which is what I love. And even the drawings give a glimmer of, I don't know, some of the humor in the way birds relate to each other and to you. So I've loved that book.
Yes. All right. Well, that is the end of this festive tag. Wherever you are, we hope you are having a lovely December and happy holidays.